Hi, I'm Commissioner Regalado. Thank you for joining us on your lunch break. Today, we're talking with one of our amazing community partners about the different programming and opportunities that we have and how we work with them and how we can work with you to do more and provide these services to all the residents of Miami-Dade County.
Happy Monday to everyone. I hope that everyone is doing great, and I hope that these 5 weeks that we've been together has been positive for you guys to learn and to appreciate how AI can improve your businesses or your life as a whole. As I mentioned right at the beginning, that having Dr. Lee around is a powerful tool because he's teaching us and sharing with us how we can use AI for the new or for the current moment that we are living and thinking in the future. And one thing that I wanted to add to Dr. Lee's point is that what we are doing is creating a new mindset in your workflow, in your mind, knowing that you are the one that is a professional that is going to connect the dots with the information that we are sharing with you. So we are providing you tools for you to connect those dots and to create. As I always mention, please let us know how we can continue this collaboration. Out of the Commissioner Regalado's office, we have a really good partnership, and we are going to continue to support your journey when it comes to AI. Now we are working even into expand this conversation to cybersecurity, but definitely we are looking forward to see the results of this collaboration and how you can start making and creating some revenue out of the use of the tools that we have shared with you for the last 5 weeks. And with that being said, I wanted to pass it to the one and only and great Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee, take it over, my friend.
Pedro, if I may,
Alejandro, please.
I just want to say, Alejandro, this is Alejandro from the Commissioner Regalado's office. I have not sent the last video, and I have not sent the links to the presentations. I owe everybody that information. So if you're wondering, it's on my end. We have been busy with Autism Awareness Month, but I owe everybody the link to the presentations and the last session. So I will be sending that out for sure. I just wanted to clear that out just in case people are questioning what happened to the link. Thank you, Dr. Lee. To you.
You got it. Thank you so much, Alejandro. And thank you also, Dr. Santos. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I'm going to ask if you can see me, hear me, and see my screen, please.
I can.
Okay. All right. I'm going to assume that you speak for everyone. So what if I told everybody, you sat through 4 of our workshops in this series. What if I told you that everything that you've done in this whole workshop series, every conversation, every experiment, every kind of aha moment, if all of those was just a warm-up? Today, I want it to be different. Today, I don't want us to just talk about AI. I don't want to spend a lot of time in slides. Today, I want you to see what it looks like when AI actually does the work for you, specifically for you, specifically for your business. So we've spent this entire series building your foundation, understanding what AI is, how it thinks, how to talk to it. And now, right here in District 7, we're going to take that foundation and I want to build something real on top of it. Something that you can use tomorrow morning before your first cup of coffee. I want you to picture something for me. I want you to imagine that you walk into your office or your kitchen table or wherever you run your life from. And instead of there being a pile of tasks waiting for you, there's a finished report sitting there. Maybe it's, I don't know, a competitive analysis. Maybe it's a briefing document. Maybe it's a summary of everything that happened in your inbox while you were asleep. And that, my friends, it's not a fantasy, right? That's kind of where we are right now. I would recommend strongly that you take a look at, it's called Claude Cowork. And by the time we're done today, I want you to know exactly how to make that happen. So Commissioner Regalado and, this incredible District 7 community and, folks like Alejandro everybody that kind of helped make this series possible. I want to, make sure I take a second to thank you. And I kind of want to kind of honor that by making sure that you walk away with something genuinely useful today. So this is your AI era, and I want for that to start right now. So a lot of folks are still stuck in kind of chat GPT jail mentally. So here's a question that I want you to sit with for a moment. When you use a regular AI chatbot, a chat GPT, who's still doing all the work? Okay. Still you. You are. You ask it a question, you get text back on the screen. You copy it, you paste it, you format it, you save it, you send it, you do something with it, you make a phone call based off of it. But the AI just gave you words, but you did everything else. That's the difference between a conversation and a coworker. And as we kind of move into applying this into our day to day, that's the exact problem that Claude Cowork was built to solve. I want you to think of it this way. Imagine you have the ability right now today to hire a brilliant assistant, somebody who can read faster than any human, somebody who never gets tired, can synthesize information from hundreds of your business sources all at once. Now I want you to imagine that that assistant doesn't just give you advice, but they actually sit down, they actually open your files, they actually write the documents for you, they format it professionally, they save it to your folders. That's what Cowork does. You give it a goal, and it's going to deliver a finished deliverable. For me, in my business, and even in my role as a college professor, I gladly give up those $100. I'm not trying to get in anybody's pocket, but for $100, for me to have access to an assistant that actually does something meaningful and helpful, you can have that $100. I'll spend 10 times that with just one assistant that probably wouldn't even do the job as quickly and with the same degree of quality that these Claude Cowork assistants can do. The shift from doing chat to having a coworker is the shift from asking for help to actually delegating work. And here's the beautiful part. This is why I try to save this for last. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need a technical background. You just need to know what you want to get done. And then you're going to let Claude or Cowork handle the rest. Something that we can all do, we can all use right now. So again, I'm only going to do a couple of slides today, and then the rest of this is going to be about demos, and then I'm going to try to open up and have a good amount of time for questions. A lot of you, I'm sure, are wondering, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually know how to make this work for my business? How do I make Claude know what actually is going to work for my business? How do I stop re-explaining myself every single session? And this is where Cowork becomes a very powerful stack. And this is what I'm going to demonstrate for you today. I'm going to start with this. The problem that we're only just now beginning to realize is that most of us are using ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, and it's trained on its data, and it's kind of out there in the ether, and you ask it questions, it gives you answers back based off of everything that it has learned about. But I want you to think a little bit differently when we look to apply this in the quote real world, something that's meaningful for you and your business. Instead of having Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is pushed out there and you ask it questions and it's answering, but it doesn't know your business specifically, what if we could take it from out in the ether and we can load it locally on your laptop, on your desktop? Now, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever, it has access to your machine. Now, let me be clear. You want to be ultra careful about what parts of your machine you give it access to. This is going to be the value proposition. Is it worth it for you to be able to have a piece of technology that can replicate 2, 3, 4, 60, 70, $80,000 a year assistance that will help you get real work done. If that's the case, then you figure it out. You can download Claude and have Claude running on your machine. Now, Claude has access to your files about your business. Now it becomes a specialist in your work, in your business. That's where the power comes from. Think of it like a pyramid. At the base, we're going to create this thing that's called a project. And a project is like giving Claude a permanent desk inside of your business. You're going to say, these are the directories and folders and files that you have access to. This is your persona. You are a data analyst in my business. You're a financial analyst. You're a social media expert, whatever. But you're going to create a project, which is the equivalent of giving it a desk inside of your business. You're going to give it memory. You're going to give it a personality. It's going to know your tone, your preferences, your priorities. And every time you come back, it's going to pick up exactly where you left off. There's going to be no rebriefing. It's going to have access to the files that matter. You'll give it the spreadsheets that it needs to do its job. You'll give it access to maybe its own email, its own phone number, whatever. This is up to you. Then you're going to give it what we call context files inside of that project. Anything that you drop into your project folder, that's going to make Claude an insider. Maybe you give it your business overview. Maybe you say, this is how we process invoices. Now it knows more and more about your business. Maybe you are maybe you're a lender. This is your deal criteria. Anyway, the more you give Claude, the more that it's going to perform like someone who's been on your team for years. You can think of this like a briefing packet that Claude's going to read automatically every single time. So Lee, you add how powerful of a machine do you need? I'm going to go out there and say, don't laugh when I say this, but the Mac Mini would work beautifully. Honestly, it'll work on any PC if you give it more than 8 gig of RAM, decent CPU, preferably a GPU. But honestly, if you use a Mac Mini, $499 or $599, whatever it is, or the new Mac Neos for $300-400, $500, whatever it is, it'll work beautifully. Okay, context files. This is where you're going to give it your details. All right, now I want you to think of this. We've given it a project where we said, this is the data that you have access to. This is your personality. Then we said, these are some context files. This is what you need to know about our business processes, about whatever. So it has full context. This is the context engineering layer. And then we're going to go in and we're going to start to develop skills. These are going to be reusable instructions that are going to be workflows that you're going to repeat. For instance, you can teach Claude your deal memo format one time and it's going to follow it forever. You can say, this is how we process invoices, and it's going to do it the same way forever. Was just working with, a law firm, not a law firm, he's a general counsel in a big real estate company out here. And he said, my biggest problem is taking these LOIs and redlining them. Because when I go to ChatGPT, it keeps changing stuff and I don't know about it. It keeps doing all of these things that I don't like and I don't want. And we went through, we set up a project, we set up context for the law firm, for the real estate firm, and then we gave it a skill. Whenever you get an LOI, I want you to redline it exactly like this, and I want it formatted like this. So now a new LOI, a new deal comes in, he runs it through the skill, and it processes it the same exact way every single time. You now have skills. You teach Claude the format once, it follows it forever. You teach it the workflow once, it follows it forever. Super valuable. Super valuable. Think about how this applies to marketing, sales. Think about all of the skills that you have right now. I can't tell you the number of people that are founders. They're founders, and they'll say the biggest problem that I have is finding good help because I know how to do something. It'll take me 5 minutes to do it, but I delegate it to somebody and it takes them 48 hours and then it's still not right. This is your solution. Get out of your own way, document your process as a skill, and then you have it for life. And then lastly, at the very top of this stack, you have what's called plugins. And what a plugin is you can think of this as your full synthetic employee. You can say, hey, I need somebody that's going to be like my bookkeeper or my paralegal or just my assistant. And then they will be able to use multiple skills inside of the context within the project. So when I call this a plugin, in reality, that's a synthetic employee. That's what that is. Okay. So that's kind of the pyramid, right? This is where, I mean, I've been beating this drum through this entire series. I'm not gatekeeping, I'm not hiding the ball. This is exactly how you go in and you create synthetic employees to help you with your business. Let me answer a couple of questions in chat. So the security, that's going to be Magali. The question is, what about security of personal files? If you've heard of OpenClaw, OpenClaw was great. Problem with OpenClaw was in the beginning they disabled security and it was a little bit of a nightmare. Okay, just a total nightmare. Claude is taking a similar approach, except what they're doing is they're restricting the AI to only the folders that you give it access to. So the first thing that you're going to do is create a project, and the only thing, your surface area is only going to be what you put in that project. And remember, this is running locally on your machine. So this is, if anybody hacks your machine, they got access to your entire file system anyway. So this is not like it's something out in the cloud. So from a security perspective, I feel better about this. Number one, somebody hacks your machine, you got bigger problems anyway. But in addition to that, for the AI, the AI can only see what's in the folder that you allocated. So that's why I like this. That's why I'm comfortable creating projects, limiting what the AI can see, and then just using my standard common sense stuff so nobody can gain access to my physical machine or even access it through the network. So the other question is, can you go over again the equipment recommendations? Okay. So what I was trying to say is that in order to build these synthetic employees, to build these skills, context files, projects, I'd recommend a machine, with the same capabilities of a Mac Mini. Yes, a Mac. I'm 52 years old. I just got my first Mac 6 months ago, and I regret not getting one years ago. The reason I would recommend a Mac Mini or a Mac Neo or a MacBook Pro or just a Mac period is because of their chip. They have this M series of chip that is perfect for AI. It is amazing. So if you get a Mac Mini, even if you have a lower amount of RAM, that processor is so good with the unified memory that it just performs beautifully. So you can get the smallest Mac, a Mac Mini, and this will perform beautifully for many, many AI tasks. So much so that in my business, I personally go out and for new employees, I buy each of them a Mac Mini or the new Mac Neo. It's a M4 or M5 chip. M4 chips or M5 chips, either one of them, they're amazing. Perfect for this. Okay, I'm going to demo all of this shortly. But there's one thing that needs to be said that's important that this comes out is that there's this thing called Claude Dispatch. And this is where things get really, really exciting. Okay. I want you to think about and to yourself, let me, think about if this has ever happened to you. You're in a meeting or you're on your way to pick up the kids or you're sitting in the waiting room and you think, ugh, I really need to get that report done, but you're not at your computer. Okay. Has that ever happened to somebody? You really need to get something done, but you're not at your computer. What if you could just text it? What if you could just pull out your phone and say, hey, pull out last month's data and build me a summary report, and hit send from your phone. It sends that request to your local computer. Your local computer grabs your documents, does the work, generates the report, and maybe emails the report back to you. Sorry. That's what Claude Dispatch does. So important. So important. That's how I run my business and more my life. That's Claude Dispatch. What it does is it completely untethers you from your computer. Dispatch creates one continuous conversation with Claude that lives in your phone and it lives on your desktop simultaneously. You talk to it from the phone, and Claude works on your computer with access to all of the files that you gave it access to, your connectors, your plugins, everything that you set up. And when it's done, you get a notification back. And I'm sure you're thinking, wait, my computer has to be on for this to happen? Yes. Yes, it does. Which is another reason why I strongly recommend the Mac Mini or the Mac Neo. It works with the PC, don't get me wrong. But the Macs, they're just totally silent. It's totally silent. It's quiet. You're not going to be sitting there burning, spinning fans and all of that stuff. It's absolutely beautiful. Yes, your machine has to be on in order for you to use Claude Dispatch. Okay. You just don't have to be there. You can be at lunch, at a school event, on the commuter train, and your machine's just quietly doing knowledge work on your behalf. Okay. So text Claude from your phone, come back to finish work. That's what it means to have AI working for you, not just with you. Probably one of the most powerful things I have come across. All right, so let me switch over to the demo. Okay, I want to get practical now because I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds amazing, but what would I actually use it for? And I'm just going to give you 6. But here's the truth. The truth of the matter is you're all entrepreneurs. It's your responsibility to figure out how this can apply to your business. I would say a simple competitive analysis. Tell Claude your business type and city, and it's going to research your top competitors, compare their strengths, their weaknesses, save it to a formatted Word document to your folder. Maybe a weekly briefing automatically every Monday morning. Have Claude, and think about this. The best use case ever is to connect this thing to your email. Connect it to your email. Think about that. How much time do you spend in your email? And then you go through your email, how much of your email is garbage and how much is it something that you actually need to know and respond to? What if you just created an assistant that just went through your calendar, your emails, your files, and says, hey, this is what's really hot and this is what's not. This is what's spam. Do you want me to unsubscribe? Hey, this is something very important from a VIP. Do you want me to add this to your calendar? Jess, it's saying weekly briefings over here. But if you think about email, synthesizing the email just so you can manage yourself, no more drowning in your inbox. Think about data extraction. Same use cases over and over again. I don't want to sit down and read through a ton of legal documents. I want to be able to have an email come in. When that email comes in, I don't want to even open the attachment. I want to be able to say, this email just came in. I want you to open the attachment, summarize it, tell me what is their offer. Dense documents, just let Claude read through them and return the information that I care about. Clean, structured, maybe organizing your files. Point Claude to a messy folder and tell it, hey, rename, sort, and deduplicate all of these files. 6, dispatch. Okay? Assigned from the phone, done on a desktop. Claude Pro is $20 a month. Claude Max is $100 a month. Claude Unlimited, I think, is $200 a month. For what this replaces in time, in stress, in missed opportunities, that's not a cost. That's an investment in getting your time back. And you don't even need technical skills to do that. All right, so with that being said, let me just show you this. If you go to claude.com/download, claude.com/download. I don't even know how I can make this any easier. You would literally download, period. Just download. And it's going to download a local version of Claude, right? Claude Desktop is technically what you're installing. So with that said, claude.com/download, right? Download it and install it. Just follow the prompts. Should be super, super easy. Once you have downloaded it, and you run it, this is what you're going to see. Okay. Let me answer a question. What protections does one have to prevent from opening or clicking on a dangerous email or a document? Okay. So this is just going to be your assistant. If I connect it to my email, then Outlook and Google, they have all of their protections in there where they will, kind of flag spam and phishing attacks and all of that stuff. But you can also add another layer on top of this where you can tell Claude, connect to my email, and I want you to do an analysis of the email and tell me if it's dangerous or not. So that's something in addition to what the email providers give you out of the box. You can also add another layer, with the AI on top of it. Okay. So if you look here at Cowork, if you just click on chat, for instance, chat is going to be just like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever. Tell me about Miami, whatever. This is going to be nothing different than you've seen already. The difference, though, remember, is that this thing is running locally. That's the difference, right? So if you go to chat up here, it's ChatGPT. It's Claude, it's Gemini, right? It's what it is. If you go to the middle tab is Cowork. And Cowork is what I've been talking about all of this time. Cowork is connected to your machine. It's connected to your file system here. So in Cowork, I can start to do a couple of things. Let me start with the first one here. I'm going to click on Cowork, and then from Cowork, I'm going to go to Customize. And then when I go to Customize, I'm going to go to Connectors. And in Connectors, what I can do is I can just click on this plus sign up here. And I can just say Browse Connectors. Now, these are things that I can connect. In addition to it connecting to my file system, these are things I can connect to my AI. I'm going to connect my Gmail. I've already done that. I'm going to connect my Google Calendar. I can do that. I'm going to connect my Google Drive. I can do that. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, right there. I can connect my Google Drive, my DocuSign. All right, so I can connect all of these tools. I can also connect some custom tools as well. Okay. So I've connected my Gmail, as you can see here. Connected my Gmail, connected my calendar, connected my drive. So now when I go back to new task in Cowork, I'm just going to ask it, hey, please tell me if I have received any emails from Redfin in the last week. Okay. Remember, this is now connected to my email. Okay. So there you go. It's connected to my Gmail and it's answering my questions about Gmail. Okay. Look at that there. Now, what I want you to think about is just how powerful just this one use case is right here. I would bet dollars to donuts that many of you in here spend at least an hour, if not two, messing around in your email. Now what happens when you can go in and just talk to your email? And by the way, we're scraping the tip of the iceberg with this. The tip of the iceberg. I can now go back and say, hey, if I receive any emails from Dr. Santos, I want you to go ahead and create a draft response. And in that draft response, I want you to store it in my drafts. I want you to read all of the prior emails from Dr. Santos so that the responses are in the same tone, whether it's professional or casual or conversational. I can start to create skills from this. I've connected my calendar. I can ask it questions about my calendar. I can say if an email comes in, I want you to update my calendar if it comes from a certain person and they're requesting a meeting. Go ahead and update my calendar and make it tentative. I can go into my Google Drive. Please check my Google Drive and let me know if I have any PowerPoints or Google Slides on NLP. I mean, I can now access my stuff related to my life and my business. I can say, hey, I want you to go tell me if I have any contracts, update this contract, do this, do that, build whatever it is you want to build. Just connecting your life via your email, your calendar, your OneDrive, your Google Drive. I have to allow it first. Your database, your whatever it is you want to connect. Now we've gone from abstract AI to something that works specifically for you. Notice has gone into my Google Drive and is pulling out the files in my Google Drive. I'll give it a second to finish. This is where AI becomes practical. Okay, the use cases here are infinite. Give this thing a second to finish. Okay. So there you go. Okay. There you go. So it's gone through there. I could have it return or give me the link or whatever it is I want to do. All right. I can customize and I can, like I said, add connectors to almost anything. All right, here's a good one. Firecrawl is a really good one. Firecrawl is a really good one. I could tell it, please use Firecrawl to look at mdc.edu and give me a summary. Now, Firecrawl is important because what Firecrawl does is it works like an agentic browser. They give you a nice free tier. So if I need to go out there and maybe do, okay, or I've used all my credits. Okay, I won't be able to show you that. But they give you a good free tier. And from that free tier, what you can do is it'll go out there. Say I log in. I'm not saying I would do this here, but say I log in to the county's tax assessor's office. You can log in once, and then you can tell Firecrawl, hey, my session is logged in. What I want you to do is I want you to go in and look up these properties and tell me the millage or tell me the whatever, right? And it will use your logged in session and allow you to navigate through whatever site you're going to. That's probably a terrible example. Forget about that example, but you get the idea. All right, so that's Firecrawl. So much more powerful than just using ChatGPT. All right, let me go back here. My project. Okay. I told you that there was layers to this, and I said it all starts with a project. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call this project Claude Projects. Let me create a new folder. I'm going to call this D7. Create. Open the D7 project. Okay. So here's my D7 project, and I want everything to come in through here. So now only the documents that I put in this D7 folder, those are going to be the only ones that are going to be relevant. Only documents I put in here. It's on my file system here. I can now go over here where it says instructions under my project, and I can give it a personality. You are an expert in Miami politics, in Miami period, in Miami in general, and District 7 in particular. In District 7 in particular. Please respond to every request through this lens. Okay. So now I've given this AI a persona. For you and your business, you would say you're an expert in Joe's Plumbing. You're an expert in, whatever. You have 50 years of experience, blah, 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 blah. Here's some information about my company, da, 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 da. If you wanted to do something periodically, right, you'd schedule tasks for it to do periodically. Okay. What would you like to do in this project? Just answer questions about District 7 in Miami. Okay. So there you go. So now this thing has a personality. I have some instructions in here I can add to it. I can give it context. I can give it files if I want to give it files. Okay. What cities are in District 7? Okay. But I can start to add tools to it. I can start to give it emails, etc. So, okay, Pellin. So the question is, how does Claude integrate into platforms like Microsoft 365, etc., etc.? Okay. Um, the answer is it integrates very well. The problem is you have to go to your Outlook administrator to get permissions. It has nothing to do with Claude. It has everything to do with the fact that Microsoft is a walled garden and they've locked down everything, their Outlook, their calendar, their OneDrive. They've locked down everything. So you would have to get permissions from them for them to let anything, forget about Claude, for anything to connect to Outlook. It is a little bit of a challenge, right? In order for you to do that. Okay. But once you get past it once, then everything is real simple. But it does require an admin to allow you access to anything related to Microsoft, anything. And that's not by accident too. They're trying to sell their services. Okay. Go back here, new task. I can now tell it, now I want to work inside of this project. And it's going to tell you now Claude can access any files that are in that project. Okay. And then I just start going from there. And like I said, the AI now has its own personality, its own files that you can give it, its own jobs, its own task, etc. All right. There was one final thing. I mean, I can go on for this, but this is the main idea. The last thing I'll tell you is that if you go to Dispatch, Dispatch will tell you get the Claude application, and when you get the Claude application, log in. And when you log in, then you can just send messages to it from your phone. That's what Dispatch will do. So if you have files that you want to access remotely, well, you can't really see this, but in the Claude app, there's something called Dispatch. There's something called Dispatch on the Claude application. And just get the regular Claude application, connect to it, same email, and it works like a walkie-talkie almost. Okay. So that is Dispatch. Okay. There was one thing that came up last week, and or the last time that we engaged. Let me see if I still have it. I want to bring this up because I promised I would show this. Somebody asked, could you build mobile applications? And if you're not a developer, you don't care about being a developer, then I would recommend Manus. It's $40 a month. You've heard me talk about Manus before. It's $40 a month. And here you go. I want to build a mobile app in Manus. I just want it to be about weather. I misspell weather. Don't judge me. And I wanted to use Open Mateo. I want this on the App Store for both iOS and Android. That was it for the prompt. So somebody asked, can this thing create a mobile application? Easily. Can easily create a mobile application. All right, so here's the response. I didn't want you to wait 15 minutes for it to build it, but it takes 15 minutes to build a mobile application. Great question. Yes, Manus can build a mobile app, blah, 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 blah. All right, so I got out the way. I didn't put any other prompt in. I just want you to see that. There's no other prompts. I just said, build me a mobile app. Use this thing called Open Mateo. No other prompts. And this is the output right here. This is a fully functioning, working mobile application that this thing built in 15 minutes. Okay, built it in 15 minutes. And then if I wanted to update it, it's real simple to update it. Thank you, but I am in Florida. Please give me a toggle for Fahrenheit, however you spell Fahrenheit, and Celsius. And also let me pick my, no, here, that's enough. Fahrenheit and Celsius. I've butchered the spelling. I don't even care. It's going with what it is right there. So here's mobile app right here. Simple, right? You can build mobile apps for anything. I call these disposable apps. And then from here, once you're finished, it'll give you a QR code. It'll tell you on your app, on your phone, right? You hit the QR code. It'll tell you on your phone, install this thing called, oh, I'm not gonna think of the name of it. React Native, yeah, Expo. It's going to tell you to install Expo on your phone, and then you'll be able to use the application on your phone. And if you want to install it on like the App Store or Android, then you would there's a whole process you have to go through. Just sit there and talk to the thing. It'll walk you through how to do that. But I know for a lot of us, building a mobile application for your business seems like a heavy lift, but I'll tell you that, with Manus, it took me 15 minutes to build this application. And once you get it built the first time, just keep going through refining it over and over and over until you get what you want. If you want to connect to a database, you can do that. If you want to add security, you can do that. What you can do with this is really it's just unlimited. It's kind of weird because I know there's a lot of classes and training and all that stuff. People think they have to take a year's worth of learning Swift just to learn how to build an Apple, iOS app. That's no longer the case anymore. The world has changed. You just have to be neurodivergent enough to know how to think and prompt it the right way, and you can build mobile apps and deploy mobile apps. Are there levels to the game? Absolutely. 100%. If somebody knows Swift, if somebody's been a mobile developer for 20 years, of course, they'll build mobile apps better than you. But you're not going to pay $250,000 for that. Maybe I don't need a $250,000 app. Maybe I just need an app that me and my team internally is going to use, and I don't care. I don't care if it's not, absolutely perfect. If it's good enough, and I spend $50 or $100 or $200 to build it, then, kind of get out my face with that nonsense about, oh yeah, but a pro can do it. Yeah, for $250,000 and I can do it for 200. Go to the pro. If you got money like that, go spend your $250,000. Good for you. But here's a mobile app right here. Done. Done. I'm not sure if you see this here, but notice everything is updated. I can just go a little bit at a time, little bit at a time, just make it better a little bit at a time. I can add features, remove features, do whatever I want. It's fully tested here. If I wanted to test it on my phone, if I want to test it on my phone, I'll hit the QR code on this. I have it installed already. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but there it is running, full application running on my phone. Done. Okay. And again, all of this came from this one prompt right here in Manus. So question is, what is the difference between Claude and Manus? Um, Claude is a large language model similar to ChatGPT. They built a bunch of products around it, like Claude Code and Claude Cowork and things like that. Manus is an agentic framework. Manus let me start with this. It was a Chinese company, and what they do is they work differently. So you give Manus a goal. For instance, you'll say, "Hey, build me a mobile app that just does the weather." Manus will say, in order for me to build a mobile app, I need this large language model, this large language model, this large language model is best at this. Maybe there's APIs best for this. And then it coordinates all of them together, uses the best one for the job. It's a framework. It's not just one large language model. You give it a goal, and it will combine the best of breed of all of the AIs that are out there. That's why it's more expensive. Okay, ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, they're one model, but their agentic framework in Manus is just a beast. It's super expensive, super expensive. So if I have, you ask when do I prefer one over the other? There's nothing better that I found than Manus. It's just super expensive. So if I want to do like thought work, or if I have a project or a report or something like that, I usually will start in Manus and say, hey, I need you to do a deep analysis of this. Go out and do your research, and it's just best in the world when it comes to that. And then I'll say, hey, I'm going to build this out in Claude or Claude Cowork or Claude Code or Gemini. I'm going to build this out. I need you to give me the requirements so I can build it out in Claude. So all of my high level thinking, all of my deep skills and things like that, I do that work in Manus, and I tell Manus to give me a plan that I can execute in Claude Code or something like that. So that's how I use the two. Or even something like this here. Hey, I want you to build me a mobile app. Build a mobile app so I have a proof of concept. Great. Now I got the proof of concept. I have access to all of the code. This is all the code right here. Let me download the code for this mobile application. And now I'm going to give this code to a developer and say, I've already built my proof of concept. I don't have time to sit here messing with this. I want you to go ahead and finish building it out. These are the rest of my requirements. Ready, set, go. Stuff like that. That's what I do. Okay. Um, we're approaching time. We're approaching time. I wanted to make sure that I made time to say this part here. This isn't just a workshop. Okay. I like to think of this as our community choosing to come together and move forward together. Commissioner Regalado had a vision. that, our people and our businesses in District 7, we would not be left behind in this AI revolution. That Miami-Dade in general, Miami-Dade College in particular, will be a place where everyday people, business owners, parents, community leaders, we would all have access to the same tools that are literally transforming industries around the world. And because of this series, because of your presence here today, that vision is becoming more and more real. So I wanted to thank Commissioner Regalado, Alejandro, you and your team, on behalf of me and Dr. Santos. I want to thank every single one of you in here who showed up, asked questions, stayed curious. I want you to think about the next steps. Okay. The next steps are simple. Simply download Claude Desktop. Open the Cowork tab. Try your first task. Maybe do a competitive analysis, a report, anything. Then enable Claude Dispatch on your phone and experience what it feels like to tell the AI to do something, and it just gets on your laptop or your desktop and starts doing real work. That's the future of work. The future of work isn't coming, it's already here. And the future of work, it fits in your pocket. So here is a QR code I put together for all of you here. I want you to fill that, it's a simple form. It's a simple form. The form, it's going to be, I hope, valuable to you. I mentioned this last time we met. This form should tell you, you'll get a response. It'll tell you where you are in your AI journey, number one. Number two, this form will tell you where your business is in its AI journey, in its AI maturity level. This form will tell you, number three, for you to figure out where are your exact pain points. We've been through 5 workshops. I want you to start thinking honestly, where am I at really? Where am I honestly at in my AI journey? Where's my business really at? Oh, here, let me fix that. Give me 1 second. I don't think it works for the free plan, Claudia. I also want you to figure out what are the actual pain points that matter to you in your business. Because when we know the pain points that matter to you in your business, that's going to make a huge difference. That'll help us figure out, it'll help us figure out how to move forward. Okay? How to move forward specifically for your business. And then I want you to think about, I heard somebody say the QR code wasn't working. Let me give you the bit.ly QR code. That one should definitely work. I want you to also think about what workflows exist for your business so you can see where the automations can kind of fit in. So you can go from AI is just this cool tool to saying, this is where I am in my AI journey. This is where my business is. These are the pain points that we have. And these are the workflows. These are the workflows where we can really start to have some AI automations. Now it should connect all of the dots and you can see how you can literally apply this in a real way, in a meaningful way. So fill that out. You'll get a response back. That response will give you just a really brief kind of summary. It'll answer all 4 of those questions. Before I turn it over to Dr. Santos, let me just say, I hope you guys were able to get some value out of this. This is the same. We do these, AI mastermind classes for, high net worth individuals out there in Coral Gables every Friday, billionaires. I mean, folks who are running private equity. These are the same. This is the same material that we present to those guys. So like I said, we're not holding anything back. So thank you again. I hope you got some value. Dr. Santos, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, and just to comment, you're a great class. Guys, this is for you to use, for everyone. Feel free to reach out. I'm going to send Alejandro not just the presentations, but also additional resources that you have access through Miami-Dade College. Please use those and let us know how we can help. So I'm looking forward to see you soon. I'm looking forward to see you using the resources, and let us know how we can help. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you, everyone.